Hey there, thanks for checking out the third episode of Player One Reviews. Today we're going to talk about Fire Emblem Awakening for the Nintendo 3DS. Awakening is the 13th installment in the Fire Emblem series, but it's the first one for Nintendo's popular handheld. Let's take a look. Fire Emblem starts with you waking up in a field with no memory of who you are. Luckily, you are found by Chrom, the leader of a militia group known as the Shepherds, and after a very brief interview, you get hired as the tactician for this group. As time goes on, you have to battle off the invading force of a neighboring country, and the game unfolds from there. I really liked the story in this game. It was fairly generic, country in danger, group of heroes fight for honor and justice, but it had enough twists to not make it stagnant, and I liked the added touch of a little interdimensional time travel. Awakening, like every other game in the Fire Emblem series, is a tactical RPG. For anyone who doesn't know what this means, it's that you control a small army of troops on a battlefield where movement and attack range is all determined by your class and level. What it really means is that you will either agonize over hours of endless grinding trying to keep all the various members of your army at the same level, or you will inevitably pick a select group of 8 or so soldiers that become your go-to options for combat situations. Awakening also has some cool mechanics in the form of relationships. Two troops may battle together, granting each other a bonus to hit, damage, dodge chance, etc., and the more you fight together, the better these bonuses get. As your relationship levels up between the two characters, you also unlock short conversations between them that can be viewed after the battle. It adds a nice touch to the game, and it lets you really get to know the characters. And possibly develop unhealthy crushes on a set of pixels and programming code. There's also a very neat selection at the initial game setup where you pick between casual and classic mode. The difference being that in casual, any deaths that happen are erased after the scenario ends. But in classic, if someone dies, they stay dead and are lost to you forever. It definitely adds some intensity, and a few resets, to the gameplay. Unfortunately, due to the fact that this is my first attempt at capturing 3DS footage, you can't really see how beautiful this game is. But trust me when I tell you that it's absolutely gorgeous. It's easily the most attractive game I've ever seen on the 3DS, and it rivals anything released on the Wii. I found myself playing in 3D more on this title than with any before it. The cutscenes are masterfully done, and the combat footage is great, whether you're watching all the actions play out, or if you're just enjoying the 8-bit representations on the game map. As soon as you start Fire Emblem Awakening, you'll find it hard to believe you're playing on a handheld. So when Fire Emblem came out, if you didn't pre-order it, you didn't get a copy. There was 1 or 2 extras shipped to each store, and it was really unfortunate. I didn't get a copy. I didn't pre-order. I thought about buying the game, but I'd never played anything in the Fire Emblem franchise before. I asked my brother, and he said, "You didn't like Final Fantasy Tactics, you're not going to like Fire Emblem." He was right, I did not like Final Fantasy Tactics. He was wrong, I love Fire Emblem. I didn't pre-order. It's probably the first time in history since pre-ordering became available that I didn't pre-order a game that I was interested in. But afterwards, I went trying to find a copy, and I couldn't. I searched the whole eastern seaboard of Canada, all the way to Quebec City, nothing to be found. It was really frustrating. I really wanted to play this game, I really wanted to experience the story, and my only option I thought was going to be either buying one that was ridiculously overpriced on eBay, or buying the digital copy. Now, I'm not against digital copies. I understand that the industry is moving that way. It's a lot easier to store ones and zeros in a server than it is to ship out cartridges and discs. And I'm not against it. You know what? I'd rather carry a thumb drive with me to my friend's house and have my entire library than only be able to bring a handful of games. That's good, you know? So I went to the eShop to look, and I saw that the game was the same price as the physical copy, and that really bothered me. Essentially what Nintendo was telling us is, here's our game, it's the information, it's the data, and all this other stuff, the packaging is worthless.
And it's not worthless. I know there's a cost associated with that. You gotta make it, you gotta ship it, you gotta store it. So there's a cost. So if you're not paying that, I understand you gotta pay for the servers to hold on to the software and stuff, but it's a lot cheaper to run one server holding Fire Emblem that I can download it from than it is to ship out, you know, 1 million copies of a game. So why am I paying the same amount for that as I would for something that comes in a case that I can actually touch and collect? I don't agree with it. So I didn't end up buying the digital copy off the eShop, which I'm thankful for, because after waiting a week, getting a copy from my local EB Games, luckily the associate there gave me a heads up when one came in, and I rushed right down and got it. But it's just, I'm okay with moving towards digital. And you know, Nintendo's really pushing the eShop. The PlayStation Network is really thriving, and there's a lot of great games. I'm not okay with paying the same amount. I'm okay with, you know, if you wanted to release a game and charge $5 less, that would be fine by me. I know for sure that that was more than $5, but maybe the price difference between running the server and what have you. Just don't, you know, don't take a leak on my head, Nintendo, and tell me it's raining and tell me that this game costs the same to have a digital copy as it does for the physical, because I know that ain't fact.
All in all, I really enjoyed this game. My 3DS has steadily become the most played system in my household, and with Luigi's Mansion, Castlevania, and Shin Megami Tensei 4 coming out, as well as a re-release of Donkey Kong Country Returns, I don't expect it to lose any steam. If you haven't played Fire Emblem and are a fan of the series, then go get a copy today. If you haven't played a tactical RPG before, this isn't a bad starting point. I highly recommend this game, and I am looking forward to checking into previous entries in the series. Thanks for watching this episode of the Cartridge Bros Player 1 Reviews. If you liked what you saw, feel free to comment and subscribe below. Also, if you disagreed with anything I said, I'd love those comments as well. Until next time, this is Player 1.
Let's take a look.
Your head's totally cut off.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It's like...